And hey, it's another Saturday. Hello and good morning. My name is Obobia Dakompuku. Thank you for letting me into your space again with 30 minutes of my Saturday morning discussion on Pause for Three Reloaded. Pause for Three is my Monday and Thursday motivational presentation, proudly sponsored by FlexiPay, Endless Possibilities. And on Saturday, we extend the conversation for 30 minutes. Join me on Facebook at Pause for Three, on YouTube at Pause for Three TV, and on Instagram at Pause for Three. This morning, I'm joined by my brother Derrydean Dadzie, CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Technology, and we'll be discussing my Thursday presentation on appreciating our ladder holders. Because many people don't appreciate the need to be thankful, to recognize the contributions of other people in our lives. We are becoming used to ignoring the important impact on our businesses, in our lives, etc. We cannot deny that there are some critical people who have and continue to make us be the best in what we do. Yet, we often forget to acknowledge them. Appreciating people is a huge sign of encouragement, something we fail to do because we take things for granted, or we fail to realize that success is because of teamwork and not our individual efforts. Welcome to Pause for Three.
Thank you very much, Obobia.
And I'm happy to have you here. I know that you're a very busy man.
Same here.
Thank you for your time.
And thank you for the invitation.
The moment you heard the topic, ladder holders, what came into your mind?
Ladder holders, the first thing I thought about was, picturing what in a typical situation, where do we have people who hold ladders? And in Ghana, in our real life setting, is where somebody's painting, or somebody's fixing your DSTV, or somebody's sometimes fixing your bulb. And in many circumstances, you always have to call somebody to hold it for you.
Exactly.
And you are the one actually doing the action, or you are the one who has the spotlight. So ladder holders, to me, are background enablers. Sometimes they themselves might be at the fore, but for the purpose or for what you are doing, they are the background and pushing the buttons, holding the fort, sometimes advocating for you to enable you achieve your vision or your goals.
But many often we tend to forget such people because clearly they held the ladder, we went up there to do the work, and the work is done. So what do I care about who held the ladder?
Yeah.
Why is that so?
Sometimes success makes you forget the journey. So the destination becomes so refined, so fine. The destination shows a glitter, and you forget what the digging, the things that went on, the excavation that enabled you to get the glitter. So it makes you easily forget, and it also depends on your attitude, your persona. We have personas of people who are not appreciative people who easily forget. People do things for you not because of sometimes money. People do things for you because that is their nature. And in order to more or less enable them continuing that nature of goodness, of helping people, they need to get good examples of people that they've helped to have become successful. And when you come back to appreciate them, it reinforces that nature of theirs to help. So it's very important to go back or to always appreciate those who are holding the ladder for you in order to create the cycle of continuous, help from the same
so they can
source.
Move on to help
other people as well, and also helps them become better people. Because some people out there, they got everything. They might be digging the hole for you, but they don't need anything from you. What they really look out for is just a little thank you. Some people don't even want to thank you. Sometimes what they look out for is just who you have become. They want to see success, and in that regard, your ability to maintain a certain level of success, not in terms of wealth, but being able to have positive impact, based on the help they give you, reinvigorates them, makes them better people themselves.
It brings them that much joy.
Yeah.
And then you're obviously one of the most successful young men around here. Some of us are very proud of you, I must say. If you don't know, let me tell you now. But I'm just wondering that at this point in your life, can you recognize any ladder holders?
Well, definitely. There have been people who have helped me throughout my journey, from the time that I was even a child, looking at family members who hold the fort for you, who enable you, who have to deal with different hard situations in order to put you in certain positions, including your mother, sometimes neighbors. I can count on neighbors who have been very, very instrumental in who have become today. Those who will give you a lift to school, those who would let you do little things for them and open doors for you. Classmate, who enable you become who you be, even in our entrepreneurial endeavor. The people, the partners that you work with, who become very strong pillars in your life, because you might be taking the shine, but they are the ones doing the screwing and the bolt and that. So as a person, personally, there are thousands of people that I believe have been very, very instrumental. Sometimes even those you don't see, who actually advocate for you. Even to be here, I'm sure somebody spoke to you about me. That person is a ladder holder. He might not be here, or he might not be in a spotlight, but he is the one who brought my memory, who actually mentioned me for me to have this opportunity to have engagement with you. So for me, every step that I take, I believe that some people have made it possible.
Do you have a special way of celebrating such people, especially the ones that you can identify?
Yeah, definitely. I think that one of the key things for especially those who have got it all and do not need any material reward from you is your own attitude, your own personality, who you become, your ethics, not falling into trouble, not indulge in any practices that will bring some kind of negative, negative news or negative impact to people. That alone makes them happy, right? And then there are those that you do business with, that when you get there, you need to reward them materially. So for example, if you start a business and you have all these people that you started with, they might not have contributed capital. You might even have paid them every step of the way, but they've stayed loyal. They've been very instrumental. Sometimes you reward them through bonuses, you reward them through material gain, because they also need some sense of enriched livelihoods. Exactly. Sometimes you give them shares. So, and I've had to deal with that. There are people who, through entrepreneurial endeavors and my engagement with them through the journey, have been able to have material rewards. That is also helping them push forward.
And then you became a CEO at a very young age.
Right.
And how easy was it managing that dynamic team that you have now? And how helpful have you been to some of them who have risen to the top?
Right. So I don't know whether it was difficult or it wasn't easy, because I'm a moment by moment person, and I always see every moment as opportunity. I try to quickly process negative situation and then expand or amplify the positives that I can take from those negative situations. So in dealing with people, you tend to have some of these situations, but as a person dealing with young people, as an entrepreneur, one of the key things that would create a very positive business dynamic or a positive environment for everybody that's playing in is getting yourself involved. Exactly. So when people are holding the ladder for you, you don't lord it over them. You don't jump on the ladder. You need to ensure that you're not risking it for them, because, for example, if you pop up the ladder and you fall, they might themselves lose their ground and they can also fall.
I must say many leaders are not able to do that.
Right.
That we are in the struggle together.
Right.
Let's dirty our hands, let's bend our backs. When it's successful, we all enjoy. Many people simply think, oh, don't mind him, he comes in any time. We are the ones who do all the work, and they simply don't want to kill themselves for their bosses.
Right.
How easy is it dealing with teammates and letting them understand that, listen, we're in this together?
Right. So I think that people's actions are typically as a result of how they think. So a man thinketh, so is he, or so is she. Or yeah. So if people think what they do, then as a leader, one of the key things that you need to do is work on the minds of people. And you work on the minds of people through engagement. You have to talk to them. And also need to explain to them the why. Yeah. Because it's very, very important. People are with you because of the how. They know how to do it. The people who are taking the shot, they're here. They are here because somebody gave them a why. They know that they have the how, and they're doing the shot, they're doing the shoot today, right? In the same vein, when it comes to dealing with your team, it is very important to more or less always talk to them about the why. They need to know why they're doing what they're doing, and then they are going to bring on board their how. Now, it's very tough to deal with people who can't see beyond, or who can't appreciate and understand the why. And in that regard, you don't have to deal with them.
And there's another school of thought that when you appreciate your team, it boosts their confidence, their work culture.
Right.
But many leaders, many bosses, and all these guys at the top do not know how to do that.
Right. Yeah, if it's not a part and parcel of you, it's kind of tough, to...
Not easy to learn?
To be able to learn, your personality, your attitude should be somebody who believes that he or she has a bigger mantle and that he's not there all by himself, because I don't believe in self-made man. If you say you're self-made, what does that mean?
What does it mean?
Somebody actually spoke for you. There was an advocate somewhere. Somebody might have put in a word for you. Somebody might have given you some money. Somebody might have given you some space, right? But if you can't appreciate these things, then you yourself cannot appreciate those who put you there. And sometimes the concept of leadership, sometimes in our setting becomes a boss mentality. Leadership is how do you call it? Your ability to exude a certain level of power, external power, right? And sometimes when it comes to power, people don't think that powerful people either have to apologize or have to show appreciation. And you can see it all over the place. They have people who are holding either cups for them, or people are holding their bags for them. If somebody's holding your bag,
it used to be served.
Yeah, it's hard to say thank you because
they think it's normal.
Give me my bag. Somebody holds something like my bag. How do you say thank you? So it makes it very difficult, and it has to take a certain virtue.
Does it have anything to do with upbringing?
It does. I believe that who we are is a subject or is a derivative of our environment, the things that we pick up, either consciously or unconsciously, the people around us, where we lived, the schools that we go to, the friends that we make. Yeah, so it has everything to do with how we are brought up.
I know that there are a lot of young guys out there who look up to you as their ladder holders, but you in particular.
Right.
Are there some few names that you can mention in growing up, getting into your business quite early and all? Are there some peculiar people that we can appreciate this morning?
Definitely, but it's kind of tough to mention names because there's several of them, and the moment you start mentioning names,
you're in trouble.
It's like somebody might be watching thinking that my name didn't come up. How come you couldn't flip it? So typically it's very tough to be giving names out there because the circumstances are so many.
But whatever it is, you appreciate them.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody there, from family members to friends to next door neighbors to teachers. So there are several of them, and to those who, when you are down, they will give you that word that will motivate you and reinvigorate you. There's so many people out there who actually let you see self-worth, and those are very powerful ladder holders because they hold your emotion.
Exactly. And most of them do not know what they do to you.
Yeah, they hold your character. There are times that I was down that there is this man, my former teacher in St. Augustine's College, will be sending me a WhatsApp message, a motivational message every blessed morning.
And he helped?
He helped me. He might not have known. I don't reply back. I'll just give him an emoji. But it was very powerful because at that moment when I'm going through my own pains, nobody will know because every day I'm smiling and jumping. But he's early in the morning. He's the one always sending me.
And it's the first thing you read before you start your day.
Yeah. So, and those people are they are like invisible. They don't even know their role, but they are your emotional holders. And there are those also who are ladder holders who hold you spiritually. They're praying for you. And these are sometimes your parents, especially the mothers. They are the ladder holders in the spirit. They're the spiritual ladder holders. They're praying for you. Sometimes your spouse. These people are holding the ladder for you because these are people who are always prophesying good things into your life.
Have you ever been let down through getting into business that early, becoming a CEO, having that team and all? Do you have some moments that you never want to remember, that you simply think that you could just wipe away from your memory?
I don't think I have anything I want to wipe away from my memory, but I have a lot of experiences of people who have surprised me.
And let you down?
Yeah, who have disappointed me. That, okay, either you help them and they either pay you back in a very bad way, not that you're looking for any material.
How do you think we should treat such people?
Sometimes you have to let them know that what they did is not right. You have to let them know because they can become, how do you call it, incessant perpetrators of letdowns, and you have to let them. Sometimes you have to nip them in the bud. You know, like if they've done something very, very criminal, you need to report them. Because in our part of the world, it's very tough to be the reporter in chief. You know, we don't like to.
So we like to say that when you're here, you should leave it.
Sometimes you need to let them know. Sometimes you have to ignore them. And one thing that we need to understand is that when people let you down, sometimes you need to ignore them quickly so that you can pick up your pieces and then move forward again. Because success... But
is it easy?
It's not.
As you talk about it quickly, is it easy to forget about them quickly and move on? It's
not easy because sometimes we wish... One of the reasons why we don't let go is because we want to pay back to them. We want to see something happen to them, for them to experience a certain level of karma. Is that
something that we have to do, or sometimes we just have to leave it to?
Sometimes, so that's why you're not letting it go, because you see the person giggling and happy, driving off, and maybe even on TV, doing some amazing stuff, and you are there, instead of you moving on, instead of you picking up the pieces. And I've been through that situation before, and I was advised that, hey, move on quick, you know, and later on, I got to understand why. Because if you move on quick, it takes time to build. When you move on quick, you build. You start talking to the next person. Hey, I have this. Can you help me with that? Then you start evolving. It's like a snowball. As it starts rolling, start picking up. So if you don't move on quick, you don't have that positive snowball effect in your life. You're at ground zero. You're not moving on to build. You're not excavating. You're not digging new foundations. You're standing still. There's this level of inertia. You're doing some constant movement. You're doing zero movement, right? When you're let down, you need one of the best ways to recover is quickly moving on. It doesn't mean that you're going to forget, but you need to move on.
Sometimes your ladder holder becomes your enemy.
Yeah, and because sometimes maybe you haven't done something they expect you to do. Sometimes people want...
People change also. So maybe one time he was your ladder holder. The next minute he stabbed you in the back. Yeah, because maybe... And it's possible. How are you able to deal with that transition? Yeah, and so it depends on the kind of ladder holder. Because like I said, there are ladder holders that are advocate. There are ladder holders that are investors. They invest in you. There are ladder holders that are team members who are actually using their time and know-how to empower you, to enable you. But there are many who simply will say that, okay, because of what has transpired between us earlier, I'm going to forgive you. And then they are able to come back and then become that helpers that they've always been. But there are others who simply do not have forgiving hearts. They will just simply move on, close that chapter and move on. Right. So everybody has this level of what he or she can tolerate. There are people who actually can tolerate almost everything. There are some people who feel that we are all human beings and we are all potential hazards. We can always err and are willing to accept us as the human that we are. But it takes a lot of experiences. People who actually forgive have actually been hurt the most. Our experiences determines our, the level, the elasticity of our of our forgiveness. Exactly. How can we be stretched?
right? I believe that people have reasons why they act, and some people can't easily forgive. Some people can't easily forgive. But the most important thing is you have to keep moving.
Keep moving. How easy is it to keep moving?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes you simply cannot put yourself together to take that next step after being hurt.
Yeah, and I understand why. One of the reasons why it doesn't become easy is because of one, maybe the circumstances around where you got hurt was your last mile vision. Like you thought 10 degrees and you got hurt at 10 degrees. You didn't think 12 degrees, right? So what do? You don't know how you're going to do. You don't know anything else because that's what you know. The key thing is that as a person, you always have to think big. You have to think wide. You have to think different scenarios. You have to simulate in your life different potential scenarios, because sometimes I think that human beings, we don't have scenarios. We don't play out scenarios. Sometimes we fear that we are being too negative. Because when you play out a scenario, potentially it might happen to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's not the case. You have to always play out what if, and that is the reason why. Yeah, it prepares you. You invest, because one of the reasons why sometimes you can't come out of a ditch when in bad times is because you don't have any money. So you need to put yourself in situations where no matter what, you can survive, and you also need to understand the concept of start small. Maybe you were up there, you're actually a CEO, you're on top, you had many houses, something happens, you lost everything. It's tough because now your friends are going to see you not driving the car that you used to drive, maybe driving a lower level car or a no car. Now you start using Uber, maybe you even start using trotro.
Exactly.
But you need to start off with, okay, you have to accept the fact that you are down. That's the first, you have to accept that you are down. Number two, you have to determine to move, to a new dimension. And a new dimension can be a different area. You have to try something. The most important thing is you need to move. And if you're moving, maybe you have only 20% in your hand. What would the 20%? Yeah, so maybe you have to now put down your ego and then call somebody. And don't call and go and take big money to do you want to not come up big again. Sometimes you have to be quiet. So sometimes, one of the reasons why we feel the hurt the most when we are down is because we're too loud.
And when you say too loud, what do you mean?
We're all over the place. We're too popular. Sometimes it's better to be quiet. So that some of the richest people, the most successful people I know in Ghana, nobody knows them. You don't even, when they dress, you don't see, right? So they have nothing to prove. They already walk down. They have everything, but they are walking low. You have just a few, but you're working so hard.
Nobody will notice.
Somebody can fall and he doesn't know. You might only see when you enter his house or when you check his bank account. There are people who have a lot of cash in their bank account, but they don't have a watch. They don't have posh cars, but they have cash. And they're doing some amazing things. When such a person falls, his emotions, because he never lived his life banking on the things around him to let people respect him or to let people regard him. Right, so when bad things happen, it's easy for him to move. So I think that one of the key things as people is sometimes we need to lay low. But if you're able to lay low, and then some awards are that you have to even turn them down. Some things that you have to let us say, hey, give it to this guy. This guy deserves it. There are times I have to go on radio that I'll let somebody else go because I feel that, hey, maybe this is her time. She needs to experience it. But some people on top of the ladder would like to paint every stroke. They don't get that way. So those are some of the dynamics.
What if you find a ladder holder in a spouse?
In a spouse, that would be the most powerful ladder holding that you ever encounter.
And what if that relationship doesn't last?
Maybe it doesn't last, and that's for me. That's one of the key things. I feel that our concept of, and it's a very controversial one, our concept of, let's say, last. I believe that people should live the moment. They should make every moment count. I believe that we need to be able to have goals because in a relationship, what's a relationship? There's a bond between two people. It can be mutual. That means that we are benefiting. It can be some level of commensalism. That means that one person is benefiting, but one person is not getting hurt. Or it can be, how do you call it, parasitism. That means that one person is benefiting, one person is getting hurt. I believe that we need to always create relationships that are mutual. right? And we need to always define what is important. And we need to keep ourselves busy with the most important things, because sometimes there's so much to do, but your partner might be thinking of something different. We know there's so much to do, and it causes, so that there's a level of one partner is doing nothing, the other partner is doing so much, but there's so much to do, and they can mutually come together and figure things out. And I think it's sometimes based on expectations, and expectations also are driven by what you tell the other person and what you show
before you start the relationship.
Yeah, when you tell the person,
the expectations are very high as they get into the relationship.
When the other person also acts in a certain way, and people can act, and we are all acting. I'm acting. You're also acting. We're all acting. Everybody's acting to ensure that we get to whichever destination, heaven, wealth, whichever destination it is. We just need to be realistic. And we need to learn to communicate. I think
in a case like finding a ladder holder in a spouse, and that relationship suddenly breaks down, how is one able to pick up the pieces and move on?
And that, I think that was one of the most painful breakdowns that you're going to get, because in a spouse or a partner is the person that you confide in. Right. So imagine you confide in someone, the person knows all your secrets, everything that you've done, where your money is, the people that you've gossiped about, people you've insulted. You just have to pray that the person will just walk away without without destroying you.
They
because
ask for
when they go off and they
50-50.
They go on, and I see that on TV all the time, YouTube, people who are offended and they get on radio or whatever and they start insulting, and that's very painful. Yeah. Right, especially when you guys have built dreams together. So the key thing is that we all have to live to accept that we are human beings. That's the first thing. We have to live to accept that bad things can happen. And we need to accept that sometimes we need to just live the moment. And those are some of the challenges that causes breakdowns in spousal ladder holderships.
I like that one. And just before we go, I'm sure that there are a few others out there who are watching us, and this is the first time they are hearing about ladder holders, how to deal with them and all. What would be your advice?
I believe that one, we don't have to be greedy, especially on the business front. We need to learn to share. We need to know that it's not you might start a business today. Know that you can actually start 1,000 of them or 100 of them, right? So in the beginning, you need to be a little flexible with how you treat the people who are around the fire trying to make things happen. You have to, for businesses, in as much, when money comes, please give the ladder holders some. Give everybody some, the receptionists. Let them get some percent. If you make $1 million, just give them some nice bonuses. If you feel that, and note that some of the people that are holding the ladder for you have little awareness or little exposure. It's your job to expose them. Exactly. Some of them don't know much about investment. Some of them will never buy any property. If you can actually help them buy one and dash it to them. Some of them will never own shares. It's through you that they will own shares. Some of them will never even want to settle down. And it's up to us, those who are the visionaries and whose ladders are being held for, to be the influencer, the biggest impact influencers in the people closest to us, by providing for them, by opening doors for them, take them to meetings, but speak to them, let them understand where they are, so it also doesn't get into their head. Because you can have the situation where some of the people they are actually trying to hold, the ladder holders that you are trying to help them also climb the ladder, it gets into their head, and they feel that, hey, me I can do some breaking away. So you need to learn how to walk the journey with them.
Very well. I'm grateful for your time, and I know that this has really been educating many people who understand exactly what we mean by ladder holders. And I'm sure that if you listen to my video during the week, I appreciated my handlers, event PR, and then I also appreciated 46 Multimedia Solutions. I don't know where PAUSE4THREE would have been if not for them. So wherever they are, from executive producer to all others, cameramen, all of you guys, I love you so much, and you are all my ladder holders. Thank you, Derrydean, for your time. And that's it for today. PAUSE4THREE-RELOADED with Derrydean Dadzie of the Ghana Chamber of Technology. Thank you for joining us, my brother. I'm very grateful. Thank you to my viewers for your time. My name is PAUSE4THREE. See you on Monday with PAUSE4THREE, proudly sponsored by FlexiPay, Endless Possibility. Have a great weekend, and always remember that I love you.